so important to have that time that you sit down with your child and just talk about what's happening at school, about what's happening in their day-to-day lives, and having conversations around heavy topics, hard topics to talk to them about. It's uncomfortable for parents and it's uncomfortable for kids, but if we can find a way to meet, I think that they would have a better understanding on the parental controls aren't there to invade their privacy. It's there for their protection.
Hello and welcome to our Smart Social Superintendent Spotlight, where we feature incredible district leaders to address hot topic questions we receive from parents across the country. I'm Andrea Allen with Smart Social, and it is our mission to help parents keep their students safe and successful online. Today, we are honored to have with us Superintendent Dr. Kim Anderson from Benton School District. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
My name is Dr. Kim Anderson. I am superintendent with the Benton School District in Benton, Arkansas. I've been in this position going on 3 years now. Spent 3/4 of a year as interim, and then I'm in my 3rd year as the full-time superintendent. This is my 35th year in education, and we just have 8 schools at this point and getting ready to bring our 9th one on in the 25-26 school year. Very growing community in Saline County, and so with that comes more students.
Well, today we're going to cover some of the recent parent questions, and Superintendent here is going to share with us her insights, and together we're going to build safe and resilient kids. So let's jump right into our first question. Okay, it's about screen time. Superintendent, what are your tips that parents can do to better manage screen time at home?
It's always a tough issue as far as how do you manage the screen time that students have. I think that just taking the computer or the cell phone away isn't always the best option. I think that you have to sit down as a family and communicate the importance of verbal communication with each other, how to talk and communicate with other people, and what are you going to do as a family to fill that void in a student. So in other words, okay, you can only be on the computer, on social media from 7 to 8. Well, what are we going to do prior to 7 o'clock? What are we going to do after 8 o'clock to fill that void? Because one of the things that I'm doing right now is reading The Anxious Generation. And just in reading that book, what that screen time does to students and their anxiety and their depression, that I think that it does, like I said, it starts with communication at home on why we don't need to be spending all of our time looking at a phone or looking at a computer, that it's very important to have those communication skills for when we get older.
Thank you. And I love that, trying to understand and teach our why. It's not just no screen time, but answering. And kids are so curious. They want to know and they want to understand. And so I think the more, like you said, that communication and understanding the why is truly can help crack that code. And this next question we just got from a parent, and I think it's very specific, but kind of ties into that why. So the question is, what suggestions do you have so parents can manage and use parental controls without making kids feel like their privacy is being invaded?
Again, it starts by communicating with your child on the reason why you need to have those parental controls in place, explaining to them that you're kind of their safety net, that you are the one that's following up to make sure that they're not communicating with people that they don't know, to make sure that they're not being bullied. I mean, we all know that social media brings on a different realm of bullying, and that you're really concerned about their safety, not only physical safety, but their mental health safety. And so I think, again, it goes back to having clear communication with your child. It goes back to explaining your why. And then what your responsibility as a parent is to make sure that you provide a safe environment for them and that you can intercept issues that could potentially happen due to what they are doing online. One of the things that I hear kids say all the time is, I don't feel like I can go to my parents and talk about this. And so that's why it's so important to have that time that you sit down with your child and just talk about what's happening at school, about what's happening in their day-to-day lives, and having conversations around heavy topics, hard topics to talk to them about. It's uncomfortable for parents and it's uncomfortable for kids, but if we can find a way to meet, I think that they would have a better understanding on the parental controls aren't there to invade their privacy. It's there for their protection.
I love that. It's about building that trust, right? Together
Yes.
as parent and child, trusting each other and having that open communication. It's so key. So you articulated that very well. Thank you. Okay. Our next one on a more positive note is talking about shining online. Here at Smart Social, that's what we love to see. We love to keep kids safe and shining online. So, Superintendent, what advice do you have for parents and students to help students use social media in a positive way?
So social media is your story. It's also your job resume. And so how you use your social media could impact college scholarships, could impact jobs in the future. I know that's one of the first things we check is social media. And so we always want to make sure as parents that we are projecting a positive image, whether it be online, whether it be in person. And again, having communication with our students. You're telling the world, you're telling your friend group who you are by what you post, by what you say, and by how you react to certain things online. So I think that's the biggest piece, again, is I just always go back to the why and to what is the impact that having a negative presence online can have and how can it impact your life going forward, even if you're 13 years old. I mean, it never goes away. It's always there. And so that's the biggest piece is how do you want to be portrayed and what is your future goals? So how I portray myself online, how does that impact my future goals?
Right. Helping kids understand that future and that impact is huge. It's a hard thing for a 13-year-old who lives so in the present moment, right? To get that what I do today might affect me 10 years down the road. It's a hard thing for them to experience. Well, thank you for answering that question. I'm going to share just for a moment for our listeners here today a little bit more about our live events that we hold weekly here at Smart Social. And these are some of the questions that our parents are asking us and some of the ways that we love to answer them during our parent events. So we had a parent asking us what makes these apps, and we're talking about video apps, these video constant rolling apps, so addictive. So we're going to hear from a student and what they think about these apps.
I think the most addictive part about social media is the constant new content that you see. You're always being introduced to new content, especially on apps like TikTok. I think the short videos, when they end so quick, you start to lose your ability to have a longer attention span. I've caught myself finding long TikTok videos and I can't stand watching the whole thing.
This generation really adapted to the fact that we don't have a large attention span. We really only concentrate for 30 seconds. So getting information that quickly, I think, enables us to just want to keep watching more. You don't even need to care about what they're presenting to you, but just the fact that you can sit there and watch it and you're oddly enjoying it. Social media is pretty addictive. People said it's like a drug. So it is addictive because you can't stop watching it. Your mind just plays on loop and it enjoys the fulfillment of everything firing in your brain to just keep watching. We love these students that come, and we do have a student program because we think it's really important to hear those student voices. What did you think about this video, Superintendent?
It's spot on. I mean, very insightful by this group of students. Just like you said, they want the here and now. They want the new content. You know, in the same manner, when they post something, they go back to see how many likes they have on it and how many responses they have on it. And that impacts them if they don't get what they feel like they should have gotten. And so it's addiction of having to constantly go back and see, hey, who has liked who has responded to my, and so they're spot on.
They can feel it. And you're right. I mean, these algorithms were created for this purpose of making sure we want to spend more time on them, right? Here's another parent question. Is social media positive or negative for my child? Let's hear some other students and what their thoughts are.
Part of what makes social media so addictive is how the algorithms are based on using content to judge whether or not someone's worthy, and using people's short attention spans to evaluate them as pieces of code, which also means that social media doesn't really care about your opinion, but really what keeps you on that platform longer, whether that's from likes, comments of engagement, sharing it to other people, or even just watching it through. The algorithm judges you as a piece of data and whether or not someone should be praised for being controversial or thrown away for not being exciting enough, even if they're pouring their heart and soul into the content. It is a heartless beast. When I spend too much time on social media, that can look like being happy because something really cool happened in my friend's life. They went hiking. A friend of mine saw snow for the first time a couple of days ago, and it can make me feel very happy and energized. But other times, it can just be really draining. It can be really negative. It depends who I'm following. It depends what's being posted.
We love listening to these students share, it's a heartless beast, and it truly can be for many of these kids. But again, showing both sides, there's a lot of positive to social media as well. And so really recognizing that. So just sharing a few of what our educators are saying in our districts that we work with. One principal said we had 50 social media incidents per year last year. Now we are down to 5 incidents and have more time to be a school principal again. We had another district leader say the 50 plus live events give our community a chance to join on their phone without software, date, time that works with their schedule. And another superintendent said we can't stay updated on all of the latest apps, so we appreciate Smart Social. We do hold, again, 52 live events for our districts throughout the school year to make sure we hit on topics like disappearing messages, combating online bullying, how to shine online, again, the positive and those negatives, the impact of screen time and motivation, and AI. And again, we hear from parents all over on how it's been helping them. And most importantly, like you said, how do they have these conversations with their students and keep that connection through all of the craziness and all of the apps that are here? We're going to jump back to you, Superintendent. This is all the conversations going on right now in districts. What has been your district's approach and journey to going cell phone free in the classroom?
Well, I can tell you it has been long before my time here that they have never allowed cell phones within the school, within the classroom, especially now that they're one-to-one computing. There's no reason to have the cell phones. Now, there is an instance in which we do allow it when they are checking their personal email for college scholarships and things along that line that our network does not allow them to have access to through our network. And so that is the one thing that I do know we allow. But when students enter the building, the cell phones are to go off and they're to remain off until they exit the building. And it's had a great positive impact on our students. You walk into our cafeterias, they're having conversation, they're talking, they're not all on their phones. And when I sit down with my student committees, one of the things that they love is that we do not allow cell phones. So we are way ahead of the curve. It's not an issue in our district. It's something that's been here for a long time. Whoever had the foresight to do that, I just praise them for it because it's had a really healthy impact on our students.
That is inspiring. So many school districts are struggling, backtracking, trying to figure out how to move into this, cell phone free in the classroom. And it's really tough for so many. So I love that you realize how good your students have it. Really, that's amazing.
And how our students, they realize how good as well is the big thing.
Yeah, that's success right there. So
Yes.
Way to go. Okay, this is our last question for our spotlight here today. And we're talking about a difficult conversation, and that's the safety of our kids and avoiding strangers and dangerous situations online. What is your advice to parents and to students to avoid talking to strangers and avoiding dangerous situations online?
Again, that communication, having an open communication with your students, that not everyone online is telling you the truth. They may be posing as a 13-year-old boy or a 13-year-old girl, and they're actually a predator or someone that is looking to do harm. The main thing is that they make sure that they do not put any of their personal information online and that they do not communicate with anyone that they do not know personally. And I think that that's where parents kind of come in, that they do check their friends list and do they know who these friends are and can they verify who these friends are? And again, it's not invasion of privacy, it's keeping them safe. And I always have a saying, even for myself, is if my gut is telling me something is wrong, it's probably wrong. And so I go back and reiterate and communicating. If you don't know them, don't connect with them. Don't believe everything that you say. And, as a parent, I need to be going through my child's friend list to make sure either I know them or that I can connect them back to their school and their church or their neighborhood.
I think, defining that, just like you said, what is a stranger? It's someone who
Right.
I can't connect back to my school or in person or someone that we feel safe with. So I think that was really important how you define what is a stranger.
Right.
And, this is a serious situation. So thank you for your insight on this topic. And again, thank you for everyone joining us here on our Superintendent Spotlight today. We're Smart Social. We provide weekly live parent events and replays, teen-led video lessons, and premium parent newsletters. We just appreciate you being here, Dr. Anderson. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be a guest on the podcast.
All right. Have a great day. See you soon.
You too. Thank you.